Okie dokie, we're getting ready to fit the rocker boxes. And with the rocker boxes, we also put in, at the same time, we put in the pushrod tubes and, of course, the pushrods themselves. So what have we got? We've got the rocker boxes, and we put well seal around them, and I put well seal around the apertures where the seals go for the pushrod tubes. Then we've got the gaskets that go between the rocker covers and the cylinder head. Just what I remember, they're marked exhaust and inlet, and of course we should know which one they go, because at one end you've got the oil inlet and nothing at the other end, and obviously the oil inlet that goes on the timing side, so you can't really get around the wrong way. They're marked inlet and exhaust, and they can only go around that way. That's where the oil comes in on the timing side. Right, okay, then we're going to be putting those on with new gaskets underneath, but we have to fit the push rods at the same time. So then we have the tappet block, which has already got well seal on. So then we'll be putting a washer on, and then on top of the washer we'll be putting this one of these cupped seal holders, which has got well seal on both sides, and that will be going that way up with a cup to the top. It's got well seal underneath it, and it's got well seal in the cup. Then on the cup we'll put one of the rubber oil seals. Now these are what we call X-ring or cross-ring seals. Okay, let's see if I've got so this is a standard seal, okay, which has got a little bit, come on, focus, it's got a little bit of a groove on the outside. Focus, you little swine. Yeah, so you can see it's slightly grooved, whereas these have a much more obvious sort of groove, if I can get it. Come on. There you go. And they are also, they've also got grooves on the sides and grooves on the inside. So you've got outside, sort of top and bottom, and inside. And they tend to fit. I always use these. These are the ones that come with the gasket kit, but so I don't use them. These are called X-ring or cross-ring seals. So we're going to have gasket, then we've got cup, then we've got seal, then we've got the pushrod tubes. These are upside down because I've got well seal on the bottom, but they'll go that way up, and then on the top, where I've also got well seal, we'll put an X-ring around that top, and then when it's on, we'll then, actually before I put the pushrod tube over, we'll then put the we'll put the pushrods in. They've been marked, so I know which, the person who dismantled the engine was good and they marked them all. So I'll put them back in the same place with some engine assembly lube on, and get them seated on the top of the tappets. And then when they're seated, we'll slide the pushrod tube down over. I've marked the two outside push rods because on the timing side the tappet block has two tappets as opposed to one, and what can happen is when they get to the top, they get kind of crossed over the push rods, and I think it's at least possible to cross them over and get them on the wrong rockers at the top. So I always mark the outside ones, this time with Tipex, so I know that's the outside, so that they don't get mixed up. Okay, that's the plan. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start assembling the bottom of the push rods first. Then we're going to put the push rod tubes down with the sort of seals around the top. Then we're going to put the gaskets on, and then we're going to put the rockers on. The adjusters, the tappet adjusters, have all been wound down to minimum, so that when we start fitting the rockers, then there'll be sorry, I'm thinking of two things at once. There'll be less tension on the rockers, right? And what I haven't got out yet, but I'm getting out now, so I'm doing two things at once. We got these little crush aluminium washers, and don't forget these are upside down now, so it's difficult. But they go in these holes, these three holes at the front. That's where the crush washers go. See if I can. Yeah. So these little Allen screws, they go up through or down rather, through the lip of the rocker box, but that can leak. So then underneath the head of those screws goes those little aluminium washers in there, and we'll be sealing those in with well seal as well when the time comes. Yeah, okay. So I think that's about it. Yeah, I forgot about them. But very, very important to get this aluminium washer in, and also, as we mentioned before, to dig the old ones out, because the old ones can be like stuck in those holes, and you can end up with 2 or even 3 sort of washers without realizing it, because they're the same color as the actual casting, and you're not sure whether it's casting or washer. Okay, I think that's about it. That's the sort of how we're going to prep it. I'll put the camera on, and we'll sort of see how we get on. It's a horrible, messy job, but fiddly job, but we'll get it done. To use well seal or not to use well seal? Yes, I use it on the gasket. Yes, I use a normal gasket. Again, like the cylinder head, a lot of people will use copper gaskets. I tend to use these. Again, I just find them a bit easier to use. I've not had any leak problems. Having said that, I got a mystery leak from the head of my T160, and I'm still not exactly sure where it's coming from, and it could be coming from the rocker box. I don't think it is now, but it could be. Oh dear, look round, and we're missing a bike. We're missing the T150 because I've just sold it. Oh dear. Yeah. Oh dear, the garage is looking empty, and the dear old Z is still for sale. No offers yet. The idea being that I'm buying a pre-war match list, but at the moment I'm not buying anything, because just selling one bike is it's left me in limbo really. It's the worst of both worlds really, because I've now sold the bike, but I can't buy the new bike until I sell this, and I've got not got any offers on that yet, so well, never mind. Where was I? I was talking about something. Oh yeah, these gaskets. So I still tend to use these, and I don't think they leak. But as I say, I've got an untraced leak on the T160, so it could be they're leaking, but it's done, a few thousand miles in a few years, so not surprised. What else? Oh yeah, would you use well seal on the pushrod tubes and all this? Well, I do, and on the seals, I do just put a smear of well seal on the seals and so on. But you can assemble them dry. I have assembled these dry before. But I tend to use well seal now, because you know me, the answer's well seal. What's the question? But that again, a matter of opinion. I probably use well seal certainly on the bottom washers and the caps, the cup holders, sort of seal holders. But whether you use them on the actual seals as well, I don't. I do. So there's a bit of well seal on the bottom where it goes on the seal, and there's a bit around the top there where the seal goes on, and of course we've got some in the actual rocker box where it goes on. Yeah, I was going to say, and the other thing is, you want to make sure that you've got a nice crush. These seals need to be crushed if they're going to seal. But if they're not crushed, they won't seal. But if they're over crushed, then they can also not seal. So we've had the cylinder head skimmed, and we've had the top of the barrel skimmed. so it will be down a little bit, but I think it'll be fine. The crush will be slightly more because we've had a few thou taken off both. The problem being, if you think you've got like too much crush or too little crush, then how do you adjust it? Well, it's very difficult. About the only thing you can do really is you can buy adjustable pushrod shoes. They cost a load of money, and I've never actually had to do it yet. So there is a bit of leeway, but obviously if you go to put these on, and they're like, and when you sort of rest, we'll do this in a minute, but when they're actually resting on top of the pushrods, if they're like half an inch off, then there's too much crush. On the other hand, if you put them on and they just go straight down and sit on the top of the cylinder head, then you haven't got enough crush. So I didn't really check it before. I could have checked it before, check it all dry, but I'm fairly sure it'll be okay. Famous last words. Anyway, we'll talk you through it, and I'll do it on the video now, and we'll see how we get on.